Louisiana. The two-story brick house, which he and his wife Tasha purchased in 2002, stood quiet in the sweltering July heat. The neighborhood, known for its well-maintained lawns and middle-class stability, had recently experienced a series of break-ins that had put residents on edge. Tasha Carter, his wife of 12 years, greeted him with an unusually brief hug. At 35, Tasha had recently transformed herself from a stay-at-home mother to an aspiring beauty entrepreneur, selling cosmetics through social media and local networks. Their daughter, Sarah, was staying at her grandmother's house for the summer break. Over the past few months, Jamal had noticed subtle changes in Tasha's behavior. She became more protective of her phone, spent more time on her appearance, and seemed distant during their conversations. After a simple dinner of takeout Chinese food, during which Tasha maintained minimal conversation about neighborhood gossip and her recent beauty product sales, Jamal retreated to his home office. The room, converted from a spare bedroom, contained his laptop and monitoring equipment. 3 months earlier, following the break-ins on Foster Drive, Jamal had installed a Lorex HD security camera in the hallway near the front door. The camera's red LED indicator caught his attention, blinking steadily in the dimming evening light. Connecting his Dell laptop to the security system, Jamal began reviewing the footage from his 2-week absence. The initial recordings showed routine activities, Tasha leaving for her beauty product demonstrations, returning with groceries from Walmart, and collecting mail. She maintained regular hours, typically leaving in the morning and returning in the early afternoon. However, as he continued watching, the footage revealed something disturbing. The video showed Tasha opening the front door to a well-dressed man in his late 20s, wearing a navy blue suit and carrying what appeared to be a leather briefcase. They embraced briefly, not a formal greeting, but an intimate gesture between familiar parties. The man's face was partially visible, Devin D. Hines, a local real estate agent whom Jamal recognized from the neighborhood's 4th of July barbecue last year. The camera captured them walking toward the living room, their body language suggesting comfortable familiarity. Devin's hand rested casually on the small of Tasha's back as they moved out of the camera's view. Jamal's hands trembled as he reviewed the footage multiple times. Further review revealed multiple visits during the 2-week period, with Devin staying for several hours each time. The pattern was clear. Visits occurred during weekday afternoons when the neighborhood was quiet and most residents were at work. Each time, Devin arrived in his black BMW 3 Series, parking it discreetly on the street rather than in the driveway. The 29-year-old Devin installed a second Lorex HD security camera in the living room. He positioned it carefully among the family photos and decorative items on the bookshelf, ensuring its lens had a clear view of the beige microfiber couch and the large bay window facing Foster Drive. The camera's placement required careful consideration to avoid detection. He concealed the power cable behind the bookshelf and adjusted the angle to maximize coverage while remaining hidden. The camera captured their interaction in cruel detail, Tasha and Devin settling onto the anniversary couch, sharing wine in the crystal glasses reserved for special occasions. The surveillance footage showed their increasing intimacy as the evening progressed. They laughed at shared jokes, their bodies gradually moving closer together on the couch. When Devin leaned in to kiss Tasha, she responded eagerly, confirming Jamal's worst fears about their relationship. The betrayal played out in vivid detail on his laptop screen, the high-quality camera capturing every gesture and touch. Jamal's hands gripped the truck's steering wheel, his wedding ring glinting in the dim light of the cabin. The industrial lot's isolation matched his emotional state as he watched his marriage crumble through the digital feed. His truck's diesel engine rumbled to life, the familiar vibration now carrying a deadly purpose. Navigating through Baton Rouge's evening traffic, Jamal drove toward Foster Drive. His phone, mounted on the dashboard, continued streaming the security footage. The sight of Tasha and Devin sharing intimate moments in his home, in the space he had worked so hard to provide, crystallized his resolve. The weight of his fully loaded trailer added momentum to his purpose. As he turned onto Foster Drive, Jamal positioned his Peterbilt for maximum impact. The truck's powerful engine roared in the residential silence, its headlights illuminating the familiar facade of 4726 Foster Drive. Through the bay window, he could see the actual scene matching the footage on his phone. Tasha and Devin, oblivious to the approaching danger, still enjoying their evening together on the couch. The security cameras continued their dutiful recording as Jamal revved the engine one final time. The sound echoed through the neighborhood, drawing curious faces to nearby windows. His phone showed Tasha and Devin looking up at the noise, their expressions changing from confusion to horror as they recognized the distinctive sound of his semi-truck. With mechanical precision honed by years of professional driving, Jamal calculated the distance and angle. His foot hovered over the accelerator as he made his final decision. The truck's powerful engine awaited his command, ready to transform from a tool of his livelihood into an instrument of vengeance. The Peterbilt 379 accelerated down Foster Drive, its Detroit diesel engine generating maximum torque. The truck's headlights illuminated the residential street as the 80,000-pound vehicle built momentum. At precisely 9:47 p.m., the semi-truck collided with the front of 4726 Foster Drive, the impact focusing on the living room area where Tasha Carter and Devin Hines were seated. The collision decimated the house's front wall. The truck's massive grille, designed to protect against highway debris, became a battering ram that splintered the wooden frame and shattered the bay window. The beige microfiber couch, a testament to happier times, was crushed beneath the truck's chrome bumper. The security cameras captured the final moments before being destroyed in the impact, their feeds cutting to static on Jamal's phone. The crash generated a catastrophic chain reaction throughout the structure. Support beams snapped like matchsticks under the force of the impact. The second floor partially collapsed into the living room, adding to the devastation. The truck's momentum carried it 15 feet into the house before finally stopping, its engine still running amid the destruction. Emergency calls flooded the Baton Rouge Police Department's dispatch center. Neighbors reported the sound of the crash echoing through the previously quiet subdivision. The impact triggered several car alarms along Foster Drive, their sirens mixing with the screams of startled residents emerging from their homes. Jamal Carter emerged from the truck's cab with methodical calmness. His work boots crunched on broken glass and splintered drywall as he surveyed the destruction. The living room, once a symbol of domestic comfort, had become a tomb of twisted metal and broken furniture. Dust and smoke from ruptured electrical wiring filled the air, creating a haze illuminated by the truck's still burning headlights. The bodies of Tasha Carter and Devin Hines lay motionless beneath the debris. Tasha's black cocktail dress and Devin's navy suit were now covered in white dust from the collapsed ceiling. The wine bottle and crystal glasses lay shattered near their bodies, the red wine mixing with other fluids on the debris-strewn floor. Mark Davidson, the next-door neighbor at 4728 Foster Drive, was the first to reach the scene. As a retired paramedic, he immediately checked for vital signs but found none. Other neighbors gathered at a safe distance, their phones recording the aftermath while waiting for emergency services to arrive. Patricia Thompson from across the street was heard screaming into her phone, providing the dispatcher with details about the crash. Jamal walked calmly to the curb and sat down, placing his hands on his knees. His posture suggested neither panic nor remorse as he waited for law enforcement to arrive. His trucking company ID badge still hung from his shirt pocket, the plastic rectangle reflecting the flashing lights of approaching emergency vehicles. The first responders arrived at 9:53 p.m. Officer James Martinez of the Baton Rouge Police Department found Jamal exactly where he had seated himself, still maintaining his eerie composure.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha, Kodash. I want to give double honor to that apostle, and that is a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessing to you, sincere Akim, that are pushing this truth all over the four corners of the earth, week in, week out, in all truth and sincerity. And as you saw in the various different video clips, which I kind of chopped the video up a little bit, I'll leave the link in the description box so you can watch the full video. And basically was an account of this man, this truck driver, who got an inclination of his wife cheating on him, with a man that he actually knew. So he, secretly installed another camera and basically caught them in the act and parked right outside his house and ran this truck that you see on the screen, this 80,000-pound truck, straight into his house, running over both of them in their house, deleting both of them instantly. Now, we're going to get into some scriptures because these so-called Christians would look at that and say that this man is wrong. But actually, that was a righteous act. According to the law, he was justified. Now, let's go right to it. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20. Let's go down to verse 10. It says, "And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death." In a lot of instances, you see, the man just killing the wife, just killing the woman, okay? And not doing anything or trying to pursue the man that was involved with his wife. They basically just, let the man go free, don't worry about him, and focus all their, energy and attention, on the women. The scripture says you're supposed to put both of them to death, the woman and the man. Let's read it again, Leviticus 20 and 10. "And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, that real estate agent, which the man actually knew, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress," the man and the woman that are involved in adultery, "they shall surely be put to death." So what he did was a righteous act, and it was justified by the law. And this is a very common thing amongst these various different men who drive these trucks and work these long hours and run these routes where they're gone for days and weeks on end. And these women sit at home with the time that they have. And a lot of times, they cheat because they know that their men are out, for days, for weeks. They know their schedules. And ultimately, they know they can get away with it for the most part, man. Okay? Let's go to Proverbs, the 6th chapter, and the 32nd verse. It says, "But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul." And Jake takes pleasure in committing adultery. They get off committing adultery, sleeping with another man's woman, another man's wife. And that's what's promoted in society. Okay, especially amongst so-called black culture. Verse 33, "A wound, a dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away." Verse 34, "For jealousy is the rage of a man." And that's what we saw. This man went in rage mode, man. He had the evidence. He was sitting right in front of his house, looking at the camera footage and looking, at his house where they were in. And he ran that giant truck with all that horsepower and torque right through his own house, deleting both of them instantly. And the sound of that truck going through that house was so loud, car alarms was going off. So you can just imagine. All right. And he calmly went and sat on the curb. It says, "For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance." And that's what you just witnessed. Okay. And ultimately that was a judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And in the ancient world, this man would have been justified. Okay. But in today's day and age, in the time period that we live in, and under the rulership of these Edomites, everything has been turned upside down. And this man, I didn't watch the full end of the video, but more than likely, you know, they threw him in prison for life. Okay, gave him manslaughter, or they probably gave him a little bit lesser of a sentencing because it was a crime of passion, or there's a certain label that they label it, you know, when it comes to adultery and certain matters like that. If any of you Akim know that term, you can put it in the comment board. But Esau would look at this as him doing wrong. These so-called Christians in this church would look at him as being in the wrong. But according to the scriptures, according to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, that was a righteous act. All right. One more scripture. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 20. It says, such is the way of an adulterous woman. Yeah, she waited for her man to leave, go on his trips, his routes. He was probably taking care of the house, giving her money. She was able to do various different things because of the money that he was getting from his truck driving business, especially if he owns his own truck, which I believe that's he did. When you own your own truck, you make pretty decent money. And meanwhile, when he comes from his routes, comes back home, she's hugging him, kissing him, acting like everything's all good and she's in love. Meanwhile, she's been sleeping with another man the whole time, the real estate agent, right? It says, such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth. Yeah, she's she's calling Joe Smo down the street over when he's gone. Okay. And he's laying in his bed, putting his feet up on the couch and doing all various different acts, man. Okay. Which is straight wickedness, man. It says, and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. And these women, this is the type of mindset that they're in. Oh, I'm lonely. You're never around. You work too much. That's why I did it. And they feel that they're justified because you work long hours. You're not around, or you don't compliment them enough, or whatever the case may be, or whatever the excuse may be. Okay. Let's read that one more time. This is Proverbs 30 and 20. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. All right. And this is the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, that was edifying. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description box. For the next time, Shalom.